I've always been hesitant to use this word. It seemed overly dramatic, or I think I had a vision for what this word meant, literally a vision for it. And whatever was happening didn't precisely fit that vision, so I just dismissed the use of that word. But I've come to see that there is no question that people who have been using this word all along were right. What's happening at our southern border is an invasion. I went back to the original Webster's Dictionary, 1828. I only go to the original dictionary to find out definitions of words. And there's two definitions. First, a hostile entrance into the possessions of another, particularly the entrance of a hostile army into a country for the purpose of conquest or plunder, or the attack of a military force. See, I thought that an invasion was only the military, like the military of another country coming and invading into our country. But then I thought, well, what's the difference between a military and hordes of military-aged men? Oh, but there needs to be like a commander of the military. Well, what if the person orchestrating this is in your own country? Does that count still? I think it does. The second definition, an attack on the rights of another, infringement or violation. I hear a lot of people on the left calling this a humanitarian disaster, what's happening at the border. But they say that from the perspective of the illegal immigrant. It's from their perspective. It's from the Venezuelans' perspective that this is a humanitarian crisis. If there is a humanitarian crisis, what about from the perspective of the American citizen? Which is, of course, who our loyalty must be to first, right? Right now there are, like 11,000 illegal immigrants coming across every day. 11,000 a day. And they're sent all around the country and they stay here. And the Democrats are coming out and they're saying, oh, this is a problem here. We got a problem. You know what the solution is? Give them work permits. Here's AOC saying this. By the way, she's getting yelled at. People screaming, close the border in the conservative bastion of Manhattan. Right, so you can't hear what she's saying in that clip. What she's saying there is we need to get work permits for all these people. We got to get them off of welfare and get them working. Why? Because they say these migrants, which by the way, they're not migrants. Birds migrate. People don't migrate. The idea of a migrant is someone's coming from Mexico into America to pick strawberries, and then they're going to go back to Mexico. That is a migrant. These people are not migrating. They're coming here and they're staying here. But the argument is that they need to get on work permits because they're on welfare and they're taxing our social services. We're going to talk about that later in the show. So we need them to work so that they can pay their own way. That's what Bill Clinton said just the other day too. It's like, no. We don't need them to work. We need them to go back home. One of the talking points from the right for a long time has been, we're against illegal immigration because these people are taking our jobs. And by the way, this isn't just a right-wing talking point. Famed labor hero union leader Cesar Chavez in California. He's a hero. They have a day off. California's a day off because of Cesar Chavez. There's statues on college campuses to Cesar Chavez. They love Cesar Chavez, but he hated the wetbacks, as he called them. He was a union boss. He hated illegal immigrants because he knew that indeed they take our jobs. Right, so conservatives would say, hey, we don't want illegal immigration because they're taking our jobs. And people on the left would laugh at conservatives. And I know because I used to be that person. But now we're at the point where the Democrats are saying, hey, listen, American citizens, don't worry. We're going to solve this problem by making it easier for them to take your jobs. No, we're going to give them work permits so that they can legally take your jobs. Or at least lower your wages. And then maybe one day, they'll be paying for your welfare. Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, just announced that there are 18,000 job openings from 400 employers. People willing to hire asylum seekers. We'll talk about asylum seekers, what that propaganda term means coming up as well. You know that ABC News poll that came out recently that had Trump up by 10 points over Joe Biden? Remember that poll? The same poll had Biden's approval rating at 30% on the economy, approval rating on the economy at 30%, but his approval rating with the U.S.-Mexican border was at 23%. I think the top two issues that people vote on are the economy and the border. Don't listen to any survey. A lot of surveys come out and they ask people what the most important topics are. Don't listen to that. Right? What people say they care about can be very different than what they actually care about and what they're actually voting on. Right? People will give answers as to what will make them look the best as to what they really care about. But in the end, that's not what they actually care about. What they really care about is the economy, my money, and the border. There's a visceral, instinctual reaction to really both those things, caring about money, and I see my country being invaded, right? I just see it. I see it, and that's bad. When people see their country being invaded, they're not going to vote for that. Not like we've seen it lately. And illegal immigrants are coming in like never before. It's not an exaggeration. It's like never before. The other idea from the left is photo IDs. That's another one which we need to be against, because that's just an institutionalization of these people that shouldn't be allowed here at all. NBC News wrote an article the other day about Donald Trump saying that if he's reelected, he would immediately invoke the Alien Enemies Act. It's part of the Alien and Seditions Act from 1798. But Trump said that he's going to target suspected gang members, drug dealers, and cartel members. That's his focus. Gang members, drug dealers, and cartel members. I'm like, okay, good, but that's not enough. Like, why are we stopping at drug dealers and cartel members? Like, obviously we need to get rid of those people. But what about everyone else? What about everyone who came across illegally in the last 3 years? Let's focus on that. What about the 10,000 people who came across yesterday? What about them? By the way, you may not hear about the border in the news every day. It pops up every couple of weeks. It'll be in for like a day or two, and then it goes away again. It doesn't stop. It's not like the border. It's not like we close up the border and then the illegal immigrants find a hole and they dig through the hole and then it's in the news and then we plug up the hole and then the news goes away. Oh, solved that. No, it's always open. It is always open. We just get distracted. We talk about other things. It's always a problem. If there were 10,000 people who came across 3 weeks ago when it was big in the news, there's still 10,000 every day coming across. But what about those people? We're not going to deport those people too? Maybe future again, President Trump? Well, you know what the truth is? Under current law, they can't. They can't be deported because they're seeking asylum. Now, of course, we got to change the law, and I'm sure there's some executive order things that can be done. This is why Trump, by the way, had remain in Mexico. So there's 5 reasons why someone can be granted asylum. If in your home country you are discriminated because of your race, your religion, your nationality, your political party, or they call it a particular social group. So this would be like freedom fighters. So if you're a freedom fighter in Iran and they consider you a terrorist, right? You can't go back there or else they'll kill you. That's it. Those are the 5 reasons, right? That's it. Those are the only 5 reasons. Because you come from a poor country, that's not enough. Because there's you have a terrible government back in Venezuela and you want to leave because there's not enough jobs there, economic asylum is not a thing. So none of these people, once they get their asylum hearing, will ever be granted asylum. Not one of them. But the asylum hearings aren't until 2027. And who knows if they'll even ever go to that. And they may not even need to go to that because they'll probably be granted, if the Democrats keep winning, they'll be granted citizenship or work permits or work visas or green cards before that day even comes. But these people say asylum because if you get your foot in America and grant asylum, we can't deport you until your hearing. That's what the law currently says. We can't deport you until your hearing happens. That's why Trump said, no, remain in Mexico. You want to apply for asylum? That's great. Do it in Mexico. And then when we have your hearing, we'll let you in if we grant it, but not in the meantime. So this is basic stuff. The basic stuff, very, very simple to fix. But because we're not following the law, right? It's crystal clear in the law. But because we're not following it, we're just encouraging more lawlessness. And you're being lied to, of course, in the process. This is a New York Post headline. Migrant children pictured howling in pain as they crawl through razor wire. I go, how about an alternate headline from the New York Post of all places? Parents picture dragging their young children through razor wire. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? That's really bad for your children. But when you want that to stop, I would like to create a situation where that's not a thing that happens. Somehow, you and I become the bad guy.